Good morning, Waller Group agents. Okay, today we're going to go over our top Waller Group lead generating sources, and I have a paper that accompanies this, so it should be in your email. And then we'll go through our KDNA numbers and then have an update for tomorrow's meeting. So let's start with top Waller Group lead generating sources. So we'll start with what is the fastest money, so the fastest activities to lead to closed transactions or revenue. So number one, utilize the Waller Group buyer script workbook. Your sphere of influence is always the most profitable and can generate the fastest transactions because usually there's the least amount of the work as far as the sales process, increasing motivation, etc., when there are people that are referred to you. So that's a given. Now, when you don't have a steady stream of referrals, that's when you have to do more proactive prospecting, and that's in the Waller Group buyer book. But the Waller Group for Sale by Owner open house training and the techniques that are in that training, approaching the Waller Group for that whole program, going through your notepad, making sure that you're utilizing your lead follow-up. And a lot of times transactions will come real fast because when you're talking to sellers every single week and you're giving them information and you're following up with them weekly, those for sale by owners, then they will refer you buyers. There's just buyers that happen as a result of that when you're communicating with so many sellers every single week. So it depends on the value that you have in that dialogue to those sellers. The face-to-face contact is very important. So the more face-to-face interaction you can have with those for sale by owners, the better, and the more value you're providing on a weekly basis. So dripping them with campaigns, whether it's photographer recommendations, all of that is in our training. So just make sure you may want to take the training again, watch the 1 hour training module on the Waller Group for sale by owner open house training again. Sometimes there's some agents that take these trainings 3, 5, 7 times because they learn something each time. Or I know there's a lot of great books that I've read to where I will read it years later. Some books I read in my 20s, I've reread in my 30s, and it's a totally different perspective after you have a little bit more experience in the business or after you have certain experiences. Can completely change your perspective. So I would encourage you to go back and review some old things again. Prospect old expired listings. This is something that we were talking more about last year. A lot of the expired listings have been prospected. A lot of agents have been doing that. So door knocking and really educating consumers on the market. So it's something that's really important that will increase your lead conversion and increase your referrals if you're truly educating homeowners. So these are people that are in your geo farm. These are people that you know that are in your sphere of influence, but letting them know, because we're in an unprecedented market. We've never seen a market like this. So people need to understand seasonality. They need to understand the challenges today. Appraisals, so many of these appraisals coming in below contract price. So if they're thinking of listing, then a big part of your job is also getting that property to appraise and working with that appraiser. So there's so many different components that's different in this economic cycle and different in this housing cycle than what we've seen in the past. And North Texas being unprecedented to what's going on in the rest of the nation, if they're not in tune with their local local market and their neighborhood, which you are, then you're bringing them a lot of value. So make sure that comes up in your conversations. The using the lead generation tools on the cost versus value. So if you haven't looked at the cost versus value lately, refresh yourself, look at that again. The Benutech divorce and probate leads, especially in a hot seller's market, those are great resources for you guys that we pay for. That's free for you guys to use. The RADA report with monthly email of pre-foreclosure notices. Again, that's something that we get monthly, that's important for you guys to use that, door knock those people. The Art Telecom FSBO and expired leads, again, great leads on expireds. The FSBOs, I would just make sure you're signed up, take the FSBO training. The twice daily Craigslist posting on conversion, that's part of the conversion training. Taking those 1 hour training classes, they're almost daily now at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on your conversion. So there again, we pay for that. You guys have that for free. If you haven't taken a conversion training, online training in the last month or so, make sure that you're taking that at least once a month, an hour a month, because they change and they update those trainings and they're always making enhancements to your conversion website. Open house on a new listing. So open houses are great. Angela Cressini had an open house this last week and had 38 people attend her open house. That was fantastic. Join meetups, local chamber of commerce. So there's sub chapters of chamber of commerce. For example, there's the East Dallas Chamber of Commerce. There's all types of chamber of commerce. There's minority chamber of commerce. So make sure you find a sub chapter or a niche or as focused of a chamber of commerce as possible to where, and then get involved. Any organization that you are a member of, you'll only get back what you put in. So if you're just a member and you're trying to get things from that, good luck. Until you're contributing or you're volunteering or you're putting something back, you can't expect anything from that organization. So make sure you choose your organizations wisely. Join meetups. There's so many different meetups online. Look and see what meetups are in your area. Through LinkedIn groups, you can identify so many other meetups, but based on your interests, based on your geographic area, get involved in the community. And you can start investigating just online and looking at LinkedIn, some of these others, but talk to business owners. Talk to business owners in your area and find out how they're involved in the community, because you're a business owner yourself. So those are peers of yours. The investor seminars, EBN, networking groups, online and face-to-face, social groups with similar interests or circles. So we talked about that. Post unlisted new homes and Zillow FSBOs on Craigslist. So that's just one, that's more of an idea. I don't know if we've had people with good success on that, but on the conversion training, those are proven things that have worked with other agents. So that's on those daily trainings on conversion. Visit your mortgage loan officer and also retail branch loan officers. So there again, our loan officer prospecting class and how you prospect loan officers. That's really important. Knowing your numbers there, knowing what questions to ask, knowing which loan officers to prospect. The ones that are just asking you for business are usually not the ones that are the best ones to prospect. The best ones to prospect are the lenders, the mortgage banks that have the most retail presence. So Capital One, Wells Fargo, Chase, the ones that where they have buyers walking in their branches that are asking for approval letters. So these are loan officers that are writing approval letters constantly, and they have a constant, steady stream of business. Again, Angela Cressini, great testimonial, how she's done a fantastic job in her GeoFarm, really working her GeoFarm, because this is part of the separate training, but it's also part of the Waller Group GeoFarm training as well. And if you're taking those trainings, then you're doing those things, or you should be. Note cards. Something that sounds so simple, but yet a handwritten note card sent to your people that are in your sphere that you've talked to, that creates a form of obligation. When someone receives a handwritten note card, psychologically, they feel obligated to reciprocate. Do they? No. But when you call them, they're typically much more receptive to your phone call and more receptive to helping you in some way. So if that's someone that you may be calling to ask for referrals from the next couple of weeks, send them a note card first before you call and ask them for a referral. I guarantee you'll get a greater sense of reciprocity. Intermediate free lead generation. So this is 60 to 180 day paycheck. I have a buyer flyer to your GeoFarm. Keep in mind the messaging of I have a buyer. The messaging and keeping that top of mind for you as a sales professional is more important than the actual act of getting out the GeoFarm flyer. So the reason I say that it's so important, if it's something that's you're focused on, if it's top of mind, that you have buyers for sellers and you're constantly looking for more sellers, you'll figure out other ways that could even be more effective or more efficient. So this is where focus comes in, the psychology of focus and it being top of mind. So whether you're posting what your buyer criteria is on Facebook, it's for free, doesn't cost anything, and it's immediate. And you do a promoted post in your area. If you're talking to local business owners about buyers that you have, and maybe you leave some flyers, I have a buyer flyers in those places of business. If you're door knocking with I have a buyer flyer, if you are using it in conjunction with an open house invitation in your area, there's so many different ways that you could cross market, that you can promote the message of you have a buyer without just doing the flyer once a month. So make sure it's top of mind. That's so much more important, and that your behavior is mirroring that. Okay, so the email market updates on the local area to sphere of influence, that that's something that no one else is giving them. So 2,000 people in your geo farm, some type of an update of what's going on in the market, what's changed, what do they need to know that is going to affect their home value. Everyone's concerned about their home value or is curious about their home value. There again, on the seller training, you guys have free tools to where your seller page, you get that for free, a seller squeeze page to where you can create instant home valuations and you can promote that on Facebook, and that doesn't cost you anything. If it's just a few dollars a month, you could do a promoted post on that and capture listing registrations. Buyer paid lead generations. These are things that do cost money. The Facebook promoted posts, conversion buyer and seller search URLs to your targeted demographic in your geofarm and your sphere of influence. The Facebook seller lead conversion URL targeted demographic, Trulia, Zillow, Homes.com, Realtor.com, AdWorks, and Facebook. They're all online networks that do cost money, but we don't, this is just one idea, and this is something that some agents do, and it's effective. I think Corey, it's been very effective for him in his area with the Zillow leads that are in his area. So make sure that they're in your geographic area, that you're not just buying leads for areas outside of your expertise. Promote your conversion blog posts if they have a strong call to action. Google AdWords to promote your neighborhood Facebook page. Hosting neighborhood food drives, events, community fundraisers, awareness campaigns. Think they're again being top of mind. How can I create engagement in my neighborhood? How can I create value, and how can I contribute to my community? If you keep that top of mind, that servant heart attitude, then your community will contribute back to you. A story that I've heard repeated many times is Tony Robbins used to be a real estate trainer, and that's how he started some of his coaching, is coaching realtors. And so one of the things that he did years ago, one of his first clients, is that his client was on the West Coast in California, and it's somewhere near San Francisco, and the I think the garbage truck workers went on union or went on strike. For some reason, there was no garbage service for 2 weeks, and so someone in the neighborhood rented a truck and picked up the garbage themselves, and just as a service for the community, because he was doing this servant heart, and he was able to build his geofarm business off of that. Basically, he had so many referrals as a result of that by giving back to his community and helping out in such a timely way that the referrals just came to him, and he started, annually doing things back for his community. That's a story that could be told countless times of other people that host annual parties in their area or do something on it, whether it's a coat drive or food drive, something annually to give back in their community. This is a great time to do that with the spring market and spring season. So think of how you can create community engagement by giving back. Okay, so now moving on to advanced business development strategies. So these are a little bit higher skill, but also have a high payoff. And your return on your investment is high, but it takes a longer time frame. So you're looking at 6 months to a year for the return on this. Take strategic partners to lunch. So and then give them perks such as show tickets, things like that. Great people to do as far as strategic partners would be luxury jewelers, CPAs, divorce family attorneys, HR managers, wealth managers, benefit managers in companies, hiring managers, anyone that has a high contact of people in life change. So knowing what their, the life change, we know what those are. It's fueled by marriage, graduation, divorce, children, new job, and death. So anyone that has touch points around those, funeral directors, divorce attorneys, marriage, wedding planners, think about how is it, are you strategically working with these people? Are they in your VIP program? Do you have something that you're going above and beyond special doing with them? Do you have a consistent open dialogue of communication with them, a real, maybe even a true friendship with them, to where you're in their social circle, you're one of their top 5 people socially that you're interacting with? So a great friend of mine is a personal injury attorney, lots of referrals. And so that's, think about people that are in a high contact business. Okay, so that covers most of our top lead gen sources. So be sure to reference that and make a commitment right now to put some of those things, at least 2 of those things, into action. Okay, so looking at our KDNA numbers, it looks like Amanda was at the top of our KDNA list for last week. Fantastic. Kudos to you, Amanda. And you had 6 hours of training. I know she had taken the webinar that I had forwarded to you guys last week. I think it was on social media. I sent another webinar this morning that I forwarded on I think buyer leads, or 5 ways to develop more leads. So I haven't taken that myself, but I would encourage you. Bob Corcoran is a consultant I have used in the past, and he's the one teaching that course. And Bob he's a great instructor and works with some of the top teams around the nation. So I think anything that he's teaching would probably be well worth your time. The contacts, Amanda had 26 contacts last week. Good job, Amanda, and also took a listing last week. Anna, she's a newer agent with us, spent 9 hours in training last week, made 19 contacts, and added 30 people to our database. It's fantastic. Angela's just been a rock star lately with her business. She has been doing a great job focusing on her geographic farm, increasing her value proposition over the last year and a half as she's built more business in her geographic farm. I can see that she's really creating momentum there, and the referrals from her referral partners in those areas. So great job, Angela, and added 7 people to her database last week. Spoke to 65 people. Angela had 65 contacts last week. It's excellent. Contacts to make contracts. Nina had 20 contacts last week, added 5 people to her database, took a listing and had a closing. Great job, Nina. Justin, a newer agent with us, had 15 contacts last week. Sarah Jones, great, 40 contacts last week. Sarah, you've been really consistent with your contacts. That's excellent. And Sarah also had 3 additions to her database, had a closing, and also had a listing taken. So great job. Barbara, again, consistent with her business, 37 contacts last week, added 10 people to her database, and spent 12 hours on making contacts. So how many hours are you working a week versus how many contacts and people that you're talking to is a really, really important metric that you want to make sure that it's always top of mind. And what are the quality of these people that you're talking to? Are these homeowners? So homeowners know other homeowners, and in this environment where you need more listing inventory, and we all need more listing inventory, it's the #1 challenge agents have. If you're not talking to a homeowner, then you're not, the way I see it, you're probably not spending your time as wisely as you should be or could be. So make sure that you're out there talking to homeowners in your networking groups, in your every group that you're associated with or affiliated with. Jill, 60 contacts last week. Great job. Jill also had an open house last weekend and had 5 people that she added to her database. Corey had spent 18 hours previewing last week and had 2 people he added to his database, and also wrote contracts, had 2 contracts accepted last week. So great job, Corey. Rose and Jesse, 51 contacts. Kathy had 4 contacts, and Ronnie had 23 contacts. Great job, and added 6 people to our database. So you guys are doing a great job. Keep up the good work. And keep in mind, we have our sales meeting tomorrow. Our sales meeting is from 11:15 to noon. And we have Barbara is going to update us on the CFPB, which is there's so many changes. You guys are probably seeing this as you're closing with your title companies, and there's going to be a lot more changes. So just the changes you've seen in the last few weeks is the tip of the iceberg as to what's changing in August. So make sure that you're aware of that and you can prepare your clients for that. And Barbara will speak to us about that. Kathy had, just as far as agent wins last week, Venus met with 2 new home builders, and she's been working on building more rapport and adding value with home builders. That's great. Rupal has been doing some door knocking. Great job. Door knocking in this environment when the spring market is probably the best time of the entire year to be doing door knocking, and on these great days. Tammy picked up a new buyer and seller from her sphere of influence. Great job, Tammy. And Barbara, 2 buyer leads from pipeline that she's converted. Great job, Barbara. Nina put a former coworker into a property, and Sarah has a new contract on new construction. Great job. Corey, new listing. Ronnie attended the Dallas County foreclosure sale and made 2 contacts with people who had purchased homes at the sale. So that's another great way to develop investor business too, when you're at those sales and you're offering to help people. And everyone that attends those Dallas County sales, they're generally qualified because they have to have cash to buy those properties. So those are qualified buyers. They may not always have realistic expectations, but there's also people that need help, and that they need a realtor to help them in this environment. They're looking for inventory. So Rose and Jesse, 4 buyer referrals from their sphere of influence. Great job, ladies. Okay, with that being said, hope to see you at tomorrow's meeting. Look forward to all the announcements and enhancements that the management team has to report, and then Barbara's update as well. And you guys have a productive week. I think lunch is catered by Linda Smith with Texas Title in our office, which is Nancy Carroll's office division that's here. If you have not met Linda, be sure to make it a point to meet her. She's doing a fantastic job closing the files for agents. Everything's right there in the office. Makes it so convenient. So we really appreciate her being here, and let her know how much you appreciate her being here for us. Hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you.